If you are the person who is always there for everyone else, but feels like no one is truly there for you, if you end your days feeling completely drained, giving pieces of yourself away until there's almost nothing left, if you feel that your kindness is consistently mistaken for weakness, then this message is not just for you. It is a lifeline. Because what you are about to discover is a profound secret rooted in the wisdom of Carl Jung that will fundamentally change how you interact with the world. It is a power that, once understood, will ensure that nothing and nobody can ever hurt you in the same way again. So turn off all distractions. Stay with me until the very end, because every part of this video is a step toward reclaiming your life.
Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have an almost supernatural control over the environment around them? They don't shout, they don't beg, they simply withdraw, and suddenly everything changes. The energy shifts. People start to question, to chase, to feel the void they left behind. Now, imagine if you did the same. If you stopped reacting immediately to everything. If you chose silence instead of the automatic response, retreat instead of explosion, what do you think would happen? That's where the real power lies.
When you stop being always available, emotionally, physically, psychologically, the world around you often goes into crisis. Why? Because people are used to controlling you through your reactions, through your impulses, through your predictability. But the day you choose to withdraw, the game changes. And those who thought they knew you realize they know absolutely nothing about you. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves." Now, think about this. When you become inaccessible, who really gets desperate? Who gets irritated? Who tries to provoke you just to elicit some emotion back? This reveals more about them than about you. It reveals how much you are being manipulated without even realizing it. You keep giving yourself away to please, to maintain peace, to not lose people who, deep down, were never really with you. And with every forced yes, every immediate response, every emotional reaction, you give away a piece of your vital energy. And at the end of the day, what's left? Tiredness, frustration, an emptiness you can't explain. I'll tell you why. Because you are too available for those who don't deserve even a minute of your silence. You have been taught to always be present, to respond quickly, to please, to say yes, even when you wanted to say no. Since childhood, you have been conditioned to believe that your worth lies in how available you are to others. But here's a truth that perhaps no one has told you with this clarity. This excessive availability is not a virtue. It is a prison. As long as you believe you need to be accessible at all times, you will be manipulated, drained, and forgotten as soon as you are no longer useful. Being always available makes you predictable, and everything that is predictable becomes a tool. People start to use you as an emotional emergency button. They press it when they want attention, relief, or validation, and then put you back on the shelf. Carl Jung spoke about the persona. This is the mask we wear to be accepted, loved, and recognized. And it is exactly this mask that keeps you overly available. You say, "It's okay," when you are suffocating. You respond to messages immediately, even when you are exhausted. You explain, justify, and defend yourself as if you owe something to the world. But the truth is, the more you place yourself at the center of others' stage, the more you disappear from your own. Being available all the time is a subtle form of self-abandonment.
The modern world is noisy. Everyone wants to be heard, wants to respond quickly, wants to win pointless debates and prove their point, even if it costs them their own peace. But there is a power that few know, and even fewer master, the power of silence. Not the silence of passivity or cowardice,
but a conscious, strategic, brutally lucid silence. The kind of silence that is not absence, but amplified presence. When you stop reacting, you begin to observe. And by observing, you see patterns that previously went unnoticed. Emotional repetitions, manipulation games, cycles of self-sabotage. Silence allows for lucidity, and lucidity is dangerous for those who live to control you. Have you noticed how some people panic when you don't respond, when you don't explain yourself, when you simply disappear? It's not because they miss you, it's because your silence takes away their narrative control. While you speak, you are still in their game. But when you are silent, you change the rules, and that unbalances anyone who thrives on your reaction. When you stop being available to everyone, something profound begins to happen. First comes an uncomfortable silence that seems to scream inside you. You wonder if you did the right thing, if you are being too harsh, if you are losing people who liked you. But gradually, this silence transforms. It begins to cleanse, to calm, to heal. And then comes solitude. But not the solitude of absence. It is the solitude of total presence, your own. This is the loneliness of the strong, the solitude of one who no longer betrays themselves to keep others close. And in that space where there was once confusion, clarity enters. Where there was once anxiety, peace enters. Where there was once neediness, a new kind of strength enters, the strength of being whole within yourself. Carl Jung said that the process of individuation, becoming who you really are, requires you to distance yourself from the collective. It's a sacred isolation, a time of inner retreat where you relearn to listen to your own voice without the world's interference, where you rebuild your identity not based on the gaze of others, but from your own center. It's no use understanding all of this intellectually if, in practice, you continue saying yes when you mean no, and maintaining relationships that only exist out of inertia. Awareness without action is just another form of self-deception. True transformation begins when you firmly decide to become selective. This requires emotional discipline. Conscious unavailability is not about being cold or arrogant. It's about no longer being accessible to anyone, at any time, for any reason. It's about taking control of your own energy, your own time, your own peace. This starts with small actions, not responding immediately, breathing before reacting, leaving a discussion before getting dragged into chaos, turning off your phone without guilt, saying, "Not today," saying, "I'm not interested," saying, "I won't get involved." But here's the most important part. You don't need to justify your absence. You don't need to explain your silence. You owe nothing to anyone but yourself. And this, for many people, is unforgivable. Because when you refuse to explain yourself, you take away the other person's power to keep you within an emotional narrative where you were always the helpful, understanding, accessible one. It's time to learn to be selective with your own soul. And this is where the final transformation occurs. When you reclaim your psychic energy from the endless cycle of reaction, you are left with a surplus. With this newfound energy, you are no longer just a reactor, you become a creator. You begin to build your life based on your own values, your own desires, your own truth. The hooks of manipulation, criticism, and emotional blackmail find no purchase because you have detached yourself from the need for external approval. The hurt they once caused came from your reaction to them, from the belief that their opinion held power over you. Now, it holds none. The relationships that were built on your availability will wither and fall away. and you must let them. Because you are creating a space for new relationships to enter, ones based not on need, but on mutual respect and genuine connection. People will be drawn not to the mask you wear, but to the authentic, sovereign individual you have become. This is the final secret. The goal was never just to stop being hurt. The goal was to become so completely yourself that the opinions of others become irrelevant noise in the face of the symphony you are creating within. You are not building walls to keep the world out. You are building a foundation to hold your true self up.
Now tell me in the comments, are you ready to be misunderstood, rejected, or even hated in the name of your inner freedom? Are you willing to pay the price of being you? If this message touched you, write in the comments, I choose my peace. Let's see how many here are ready for this transition.